morning, students. In today's class, we shall start with part 2 of your economics syllabus titled Introductory Macroeconomics. We already have studied microeconomics. The very first chapter in macroeconomics goes with the introduction. Here we are going to study about the most important concepts of macroeconomics, such as introduction to macroeconomics, difference between micro and macroeconomics, and also emergence of macroeconomics, and a detailed study of Great Depression of 1929 is made, and most importantly we speak about 4 major sectors of the economy from macroeconomics point of view, and finally we also have to look into the most important characteristics, features of market economy, or you can also call it as capitalist economy, where private sector play a major role. In the beginning, let us take the introduction to macroeconomics. While making understand about microeconomics, I told you that the word micro and macro was coined by an economist by name Ragnar Frisch. And we also have got to know that the word micro has been derived from a Greek word mikros, which means small. Likewise, we have to look into the origin of the term macro here. The word macro is derived from the Greek word makros, which means large. The word macro is derived from a Greek word makros, M-A-K-R-O-S, which means large or aggregate. In macroeconomics, we make study, or when we look into macroeconomics, it is a branch of economics. I told you micro and macroeconomics are the 2 traditional branches of economics, while microeconomics is a branch of economics which studies the behavior of the individual economic units, such as individual consumers' income, individual price of the product. Likewise, a small specific unit was studied under microeconomics. When it comes to macroeconomics, it is also a branch of economics which is related to the study of the behavior and performance of the economy as a whole. Here we do not consider the small units of the economy, whereas all the units are combined together in the study of macroeconomics. Since it studies about aggregates, macroeconomics is also called as aggregate economics. And you also have to look into one of the most important thing, what are these aggregates that we study in macroeconomics? It includes total consumption, total savings, aggregate output, national income, total employment level, unemployment, inflation. Likewise, we study about in total of all the units combined together. When we consider all the units combined together, we call it as the economy is being studied as a whole. So that you have to mention here, it is a branch of economics that is related to the study of the behavior of the economy as a whole. In microeconomics, our concern was to look into the behavior of individual economic units, such as individual consumer, individual producers' behavior. Likewise, here we do not consider the individual units, we consider all the units combined together, aggregates of the economy, or you can also call it as the economy as a whole, like the total, we consider all the consumers, we consider all the firms in the economy, and we consider not with the price of a single commodity but with the general price level, prices of all goods and services, and how output of the economy is being considered. Here we do not consider an individual good or a single commodity, where we consider all goods and services. This is the major difference that you need to notice. Once you understand about macroeconomics, since we already have understood microeconomics, we may able to gather more and more points when we are quoting the difference between micro and macroeconomics. The main objectives of macroeconomics is to analyze the principles, problems and policies relating to the achievement of full employment and expansion of productive capacity. The main objective of macroeconomics is here to analyze the principles, problems and policies relating to how to achieve full employment as well as expansion of productive capacity. This is the main objective of macroeconomics. If we observe the economy as a whole, it is clear that the output of all goods and services, the prices of different goods and services, and also the employment level in different production units, they have a tendency to move together. The tendency to move together is they either rise or fall. Movement can be rise or fall simultaneously. Either you can see the prices, the output of all goods and services, or the prices of different goods and services and the employment level have the tendency to move together, in the sense it may rise or fall simultaneously. And in microeconomics, we usually simplify the analysis. It is a complicated study. In order to simplify the analysis, we consider that how a country's total productivity as well as the level of employment are related to attributes. They are related to attributes such as the price, interest rate, wage rate, profits, etc. by focusing on a simple imaginary commodity and what happens to it. Just to make the analysis simple, we will consider that how this objective of achieving full employment and expansion of productive capacity can be attained by taking a simple example of an imaginary commodity and what happens to it. To make our study simple, this technique is being used in macroeconomics, how the full employment as well as the output expansion in the productive capacity, that is the output level of all goods and services, can be increased, which is again affected by very many attributes like price of the commodity or interest rate, wage rate, profits, etc. by taking an imaginary commodity and what happens to it. And in macroeconomics, basically students, we analyze how the output level, employment level and prices of all goods and services get determined, and we also analyze in macroeconomics with regarding to the situation that is being faced in the economy as a whole. We address in macroeconomics, we address the situation facing the economy as a whole. We do not consider individual unit, rather we consider all the units combined together. We consider the behavior of all the units, the economy as a whole. We consider the aggregates of the economy, where I already mentioned some examples like total consumption, total production, or it may be the output of the economy, national income, employment level, inflation, and so on. The macroeconomics evolved only after the publication of John Maynard Keynes' book entitled with General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money. We already have come to know that microeconomic analysis was in operation, was existed from a very long time. But if you look into macroeconomic analysis, it came to the limelight. Its popularity and evolution can be seen only after the publication of J.M. Keynes' book, that is General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money. And you also have to know that in macroeconomics, a method is being used for the analysis called as general equilibrium analysis. Macroeconomics uses general equilibrium analysis in order to know how the equilibrium achieved in all the markets simultaneously. In microeconomics, we have studied that there we use partial equilibrium analysis, where we individually take into consideration the equilibrium of the individual market at one point of time. But here we study how the equilibrium is achieved in all the markets simultaneously. That is why the method that is used for the analysis is general equilibrium analysis. And in macroeconomics, we assume that microeconomic variables remains constant. There is no changes in the microeconomic variables. As far as macroeconomics is concerned, the government which plays a very important role, whereas in microeconomics, it is the market mechanism, market forces like demand and supply plays a major role. The most important macroeconomic variables that are studied, that are usually studied in our analysis are aggregate demand, aggregate supply, inflation, and we do study about unemployment and so on. And finally, I would like to tell you that various theories has been studied in macroeconomics. The main theories that I can quote are theory of national income, theory of money, theory of general price level, theory of employment and so on, together making you understand the introduction to macroeconomics. I am also giving the idea on microeconomics. A comparison of microeconomics with that of macroeconomics is needed to bring out the difference between these two. Let us bring out the difference between micro and macroeconomics with some points. The first difference that you can bring out between micro and macroeconomics is based on the point of origin. When it comes to microeconomics, I told that the word micro has been derived from a Greek word mikros, which means small. Likewise, the word macro has been derived from a Greek word macros, which means large. So this is the first difference that you can make out between micro and macroeconomics. The second point of difference that you can mention is its definition. We have studied that in microeconomics, we got to know that it is a branch of economics. Microeconomics is a branch of economics which studies the behavior of individual economic units like individual consumer, individual producer, households, firms, etc. Likewise, it is macroeconomics is also a branch of economics which studies the behavior of not with the individual unit but with the aggregates of the economy or the economy as a whole, where we had taken some examples like total consumption, total production, national income, total employment level and so on. And when it comes to the third point to make a difference between micro and macroeconomics, we can make out the difference of a point called objective. The objective of microeconomics and that of macroeconomics is to be mentioned. The main objective of microeconomics is to analyze the principles, problems and policies relating to the achievement. It is relating to the achievement of the goal of optimum allocation of resources. How to allocate the resources at the optimum level, and this is the goal, and how to achieve this, that is being analyzed in microeconomics. As far as macroeconomics is concerned, the main objective in the analysis of macroeconomics is that analyzing the principles, problems and policies relating to the achievement of full employment and expansion of productive capacity, which I explained in detail when I made you understand Introduction to Macroeconomics. The fourth difference that we can make out is based on the variables. The major variables involved are price, consumers' demand, wage, rent and profit in microeconomics. As far as macroeconomics is concerned, the major variables involved are aggregate demand, aggregate supply, inflation, unemployment and so on. The fifth difference that you can make out is the method of study. I told you while explaining macroeconomics, the method that is used in the study of macroeconomics are general equilibrium analysis. analysis, whereas in microeconomics we use partial equilibrium analysis. Therefore, partial equilibrium is used in microeconomics as a method of study. General equilibrium is used in macroeconomics. Significant role. Who plays a significant role as far as microeconomic analysis is concerned? The answer is market mechanism. Two market forces, demand and supply, plays a major role in the determination of the prices of goods and services, and here the private sector plays a major role. Since market mechanism gives more importance to private sector participation, you have to say that as far as microeconomics is concerned, in the context of microeconomics, market mechanism plays an important role, and in the context of macroeconomics, it is the government which plays an important role. The seventh difference that you can make out between micro and macroeconomics is based on the theories that is analyzed in micro as well as macroeconomics. The theories that we study under microeconomics include theory of consumers' behavior and demand, theory of producers' behavior and supply, theory of price determination under different market condition. On the other hand, in macroeconomics, the various theories studied are theory of national income, theory of money, theory of general price level, theory of employment, theory of international trade. However, the last difference that you can make out is based on the limitations that both micro and macroeconomics has. The limitations that you can assess in microeconomic analysis is that it is based on an unrealistic assumption of full employment which cannot be seen in the real world. So which is not at all possible also, you can say. On the other hand, it has been analyzed that policy of composition involved in macroeconomics sometimes which does not prove true. What is true in the case of individual unit may not be true in the case of aggregates, or what is applicable for aggregates may not be applicable for individual unit. In such a situation, you can say that macroeconomic analysis does not work. Depending upon various points that we already have understood on micro and macroeconomics, we could able to bring out these many differences. There are many other differences also, but as far as your examination is concerned, you will be asked with a 4 marks question, briefly explain how macroeconomics differ from microeconomics.